Seems incredible. Useful. He's like an airbag, I guess. Wait, that might come in handy.
Is that a beach ball? No, it's the incredible bouncing boy.
Boing.
Hello and welcome to What's on the Fourth Floor. I'm your host, Ethan Goebbels. I'm here with my co-hosts,
Carter Walford.
And Claire Weekly.
Our show is a show for anybody who is interested in science, just as much as we are. We are science students. We are physics majors.
Yes.
All three of us are physics majors, right?
That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Just
also
make
a
sure.
math major.
Math, double major.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take that many more classes
Yeah,
to
exactly. That's
get
why you do it. It's
a
like
math
freebie.
major. Yeah.
Right. So if you are out there and you have an interest in science, no matter who you are, this is the show for you. Especially if you're a student, because we're students here.
And if you don't give a hoot about science, it's also a show for you.
Yes,
There's
because
a
we do a
bunch
lot
of
of stuff
awesome
that we don't give a hoot.
randomness thrown in here,
Yeah,
and hopefully it'll be pretty entertaining.
let's hope so. The title of our podcast is the first
What's
talking
with that
point for our
segment?
first segment. Our first segment is called What's With That? It's a segment where we can just
Ask
talk
questions.
about anything and ask questions. The first one being, why is the title of our podcast called
What's on the fourth floor?
What's on the fourth
What's
floor?
with that?
Yeah, what is with that?
Well, to start, the physics students here at UNL have a building called Jorgensen Hall. And basically, the fourth floor only has a handful of people that actually have access to it, and none of the students have gone on the fourth floor. So what we're left to do is speculate about what's actually up there.
Yes, physics majors are the best conspiracy theorists in the
Yes.
entire world.
It's like the number of people who can get on the fourth floor is really exclusive. Like, I don't think the head of the physics department has access to the fourth floor.
Yes.
It's on a need-to-know basis.
That invites lots of conspiracy theories.
And there are certain people, we know of a few people who have access, and we've asked them what's on the fourth floor, but we're a bit skeptical of their responses.
If you are a UNL student and you're just as curious about this as we are, you should visit Jorgensen. It's a really great building.
Look up and
And
wonder.
you can look up. You can literally look up and
We
see the
need
fourth floor.
to explain the floor plan of Jorgensen.
Probably
There's-
not. It's really open.
Yeah, there's like catwalks on
Yeah.
every level above the first floor.
Yeah.
So you can see up into other levels.
Right. Which just invites even more conspiracy
Yeah,
theories.
we can see the hallways, but we can't see what's behind the closed doors. My theory is they have a water park up there that they're hiding.
I think for physics majors here at UNL, even more important than completing our education and getting our major is finding out what's on the fourth floor before we graduate.
Yes.
I'm still partial to secret government surveillance base.
That's always a good option.
Yes, of course, because out of all the places in the entire world, they would want to surveil the physics
Yeah,
students
well, you gotta-
at UNL.
You got to keep an eye on the best and brightest in the country, which would be the physics students at the University
So
of
therefore,
Nebraska.
all physics departments at all universities
Well,
in the country.
maybe. Or maybe
Oh,
Or
Nebraska's
we're the
just
best.
Nebraska's
special.
just that special.
Oh.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
I'm throwing it down.
Are egos big enough? Yes or no?
Jeez. Let's move on to another What's With That. I have one. I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about Pinocchio. Believe it or not.
You do that a lot in your free
Carter, Carter, you're in a logic class, right? This
I'm in
this
a
will
logic
probably
class,
be good for
sure.
you. What if Pinocchio says out loud, "My nose will now grow"?
Oh.
What
Oh,
happens?
yeah.
Okay.
Because okay, first of all, if he says my nose will now grow,
Yeah. So
if that's the truth, then his nose would grow. But his nose only grows when he's lying. So
There's-
therefore, that's a paradox.
this is like there's a name for this logical paradox. It's like the definition paradox. It's the exact same as this sentence is false.
Yes.
I
You
don't
can use that to defeat any robot.
I don't think that's how it actually works. I've never met a robot, but I don't predict they'll be stumped by.
Well, the technological singularity has not happened yet
All right.
on
We'll
Earth.
Stay tuned for our robot fights.
Yes, there will be.
On the
a
next
lot of
episode of What's on the Fourth Floor.
Anyways,
Maybe that's on the fourth floor.
Will Pinocchio's nose grow?
Will Pinocchio's nose grow? Will it not?
I feel in my bones that his nose will not grow.
Hey, if you feel it in your bones,
I
that's
can,
the truth.
I can explain my bones. They are where my red blood cells are made in the marrow. Wait, no, that's not what I mean by
No.
explaining bones.
No.
I feel like, and Pinocchio he's under the understanding that his nose is going to grow. So he truly believes that his nose will grow. And so it's not a lie. He's just ignorant.
Okay.
Okay.
So
you can get around all of your problems by being ignorant.
yeah, it's
If you believe it enough, if you believe it hard enough, it can become the truth.
if the internet has taught me anything, if I just don't, I'm always right if I don't look up the facts.
Exactly. Yes. 80% of the time, I'm right 100% of the time.
67% of the facts are made up, including that one.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that'll be a recurring theme.
That'll be a recurring theme.
Yes.
Just made up statistics.
Yes.
Which is kind of ironic since we're in
Physics majors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
experimental
you gotta
sciences.
fudge your data every once in a
If
while.
we are talking about science topics, we are going to stay true to our roots.
But
talking about
otherwise,
Pinocchio,
No. I think that's a free-for-all.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what Pinocchio's nose is made of, that it can grow.
Wood.
It's made of wood. Wood grows.
No.
Well, I mean,
Science is in the
technically, our noses and ears keep getting longer as we live.
Right, but it doesn't get
longer
shorter
you're
again.
alive.
Because Pinocchio turns into just a guy
Yeah.
in the movie. So is this post or pre-guyification of Pinocchio?
You mean the boyification? Does he turn
Boyification.
into
Doesn't
a
he
real
also
boy?
turn into a partial donkey at some point?
Well, yeah, but
Oh yeah.
that's probing the edges too much. That's that's too deep.
I feel like nothing is probing that just too much.
As physicists, we should.
Yes. Don't let
Yes.
anybody tell you that physics is not an experimental science.
So I voiced my
Like
opinion.
probing things.
Hmm.
What do you guys think? Will the nose grow? Have I convinced you?
I think that's a
Well-
good argument. Ignorance works.
The argument from ignorance.
Yes.
What? Okay. But that's not how Pinocchio works, though.
You don't
Like
think
it's
so?
supposed to be like objective
What if it
truths.
grows and then shrinks? The statement is false, but then it becomes true
There's
when his
no-
nose grows,
There's
so
no
then it was the
precedence of a
truth.
shrinking nose. Wait, I haven't seen Pinocchio in a while. Does his nose ever shrink?
Does it go back?
Does it go back when he tells truths?
Maybe?
I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
a
if
little
it
uninformed
didn't by
here.
the end of the
Okay.
movie, wouldn't it just be like
New
all
th-
nose?
Yeah, all nose. Well, does he lie that
He
much?
can't even fit his Pinocchio and his nose in the same frame.
He's just a
Yeah.
chronic liar. But
So-
it could be that his nose starts to grow because it is a lie. But then immediately when it starts growing, it is no longer a lie and it stops. And so it grows like some minute length that you couldn't measure.
But it could also be, it's when it starts to grow.
To be fair,
I could see it like, well,
we're
I don't
operating
know.
under
I
the
have no
assumption
idea.
that there is a thing that could make a nose magically grow. So I don't see why there couldn't be a thing that could make a nose magically shrink.
way to be a physics major. It's like magic, nah.
So we're
Question doesn't make
Assuming
sense.
one type of magic, it's also plausible for another type of magic within this new universe.
Oh,
So we're conceding since we made up the
Well-
question, we get to make up the rules.
all right.
We control this universe.
Well, we can just change the question to the, like you said, the same type of question. This sentence is false. What do you
Well,
say
that-
to that, Claire?
What do you,
Brainiac.
how about that?
Well, yeah. Well, seriously though, it's the same thing, but or it's the same along the same lines of logic. It's the same kind of paradox. But is the sentence false if you say it is false?
Off topic for a second. Me and Ethan are on the same side of the table, and Claire is on the other. That's the sort of the setup, and I do feel like we're sort of attacking her a lot of the time because we're both over here launching these accusations across the table.
I like that feeling of power.
Yeah,
over
we're on the
here.
same team over here.
Yeah.
This is the No Girls Allowed Club.
or
definitely.
every STEM major sometimes.
But this sentence is false. I don't think it has a conclusion. Not a sly one like, oh, Pinocchio didn't know it. Unless I don't know. If I don't, hang on.
If you're the one that's ignorant,
If I don't know that this sentence is false, then I wasn't lying. That's the difference. Pinocchio
You don't know what the mean
It's
false
not,
means.
Yeah, it's not just if he says something that isn't true. It's if he's actively lying that matters.
Because there is a difference between telling a lie and just saying something that's false.
That's incorrect. Yes, I think so. Anyways, I suppose we're getting into morality issues.
Yeah.
Look at that. We jumped from logic to morality. I love how this podcast is set up.
You know, it's just.
I like it slightly less.
Oh, jeez.
We're just sitting here. We'll talk about stuff and see where it goes.
Yes. Join us if you feel like that's right up your alley.
So in this universe, could his nose grow?
Carter's?
Yes.
My nose grows if
Yes.
I lie.
Yes.
Well, you just said our nose grows, and it doesn't stop.
Nose grows.
Mm-hmm.
Nose groves. Nose trees that you plant in rows make nose groves, and you grow. Produce.
Groves with
Groves,
a V.
yes.
Groves.
You grow nose groves for your produce.
What are we
Nose
talking
groves.
about?
Are we just saying things that are hard to say?
Yeah.
Because I've got a bunch of vocal warm-ups if you want to do that.
That was the
No.
idea.
Oh, that could be
No.
entertaining.
I just got a little distracted is what happened. It happens a lot. That will also be a recurring theme.
So, Mr. Logic,
Yep.
are there any other similar paradoxes then?
It's similar. I mean,
There's
there's
any other types of paradoxes?
any other definitional paradoxes? I mean, this sentence is false is sort of the
It's kind of all
the
encompassing.
paradigm, if you will.
Yeah, all
There
encompassing.
are loads of
all
paradoxes. We could talk about the grandfather paradox.
That
We
one's
could
a
talk
fun one.
about the Fermi paradox. That's not a logical puzzle, but it's also a paradox.
I think we should talk about the Fermi paradox.
Maybe
More
another day.
specifically.
I think that could be a
whole
whole
segment.
segment.
Yes.
Jinx.
Wow.
Guys,
Because we're on the
Yes,
same
it
side
could be
of
a
the
whole
table.
segment for another day.
yes.
Another time. Another paradox for another day, as we often say here on What's on the Fourth Floor.
Carter, do you have a what's with that?
I do have a what's with that.
It's not a logic puzzle, is it?
It's not a logic puzzle, even though I
This
am
time.
quite fond of logic puzzles. So my what's with that is there are episodes. Have you guys ever seen? So there's a little known show. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's called Star Trek. Have you ever heard of Star
Oh.
Trek?
Yes.
I think I'm familiar
All
with
right.
it.
So there are scenes in Star
Eye roll.
Trek
Yeah.
where they get in this little tube and some wibbly wobbly lights go off, and then they appear somewhere else.
Called a
The
transporter.
transporter.
The transporter.
There are specific episodes of Star Trek. I'm pronouncing it weird on purpose. On Star Trek.
To pretend like you've never heard of it before.
This weird new
No,
thing.
me not a
Because
nerd.
I'm not a nerd. Where the transporter sort of bugs out and malfunctions, and the transporter works as it deconstructs you.
It's a
You
telephone.
fill a
Right.
battery, and then they make you out of the energy somewhere else.
Okay.
There are some episodes of Star Trek where you get in the transporter and the wibbly wobbly lights go off, and you're still there, but then there's like a copy of you on the planet. There's two of you. That happens in Star Trek.
It does.
So
The one I'm thinking
There-
of is with Riker.
Yes. Well, okay, so I know what you're talking about. Where they're still on the pad, but they're also
Yeah.
seeing their other destination if you were looking through their eyes. But there is an episode where Riker, like when he was
When
a
he,
lieutenant
like 10
or
years
something,
before that or so, he was on a planet on an
Yeah.
away mission, and they're trying to beam him to the ship.
and like
And from their perspective,
yeah,
they got him on the ship,
Right.
but was a copy of him.
Mhm.
So
or was
one-
it? I think that's your
well,
question,
him-
isn't
yeah.
it?
So the ultimate question is, do you die when you get transported?
Resounding yes.
You think so?
Yeah, because
What?
well, okay, for the time that you are in transport,
Okay.
you don't have any of the qualities which define life. You aren't able to metabolize anything. And you certainly aren't able to have conscious processes. So you aren't able to metabolize anything. You aren't able to think. Nothing about you is capable of independent action.
You stop as you
stop
think of
existing.
You stop existing
in the duration of the
materialistically.
transport.
You stop existing materialistically.
Well, the essence that is you.
Information? The information that the matter of your body.
So
So
the information that's you,
yes,
because you just like charge a battery where you are when they deconstruct you. So your information goes into some, battery, and then they use different juices from a different battery somewhere else.
They have other
remake you.
episodes where people are stuck within the transporter buffer.
but
The-
yeah,
Thing
Mhm.
that makes it.
that was another episode. Yes.
Yes.
So
So
No,
I'm
but-
just
but-
extrapolating from that. While they're in the transporter system, they are not alive.
Okay.
I'm down with that. Also, when
But
there's
is it
two
really
of you,
you?
when there's a copy of you, the one of you that was in the original place, do they just say, "Hey, get in the deconstructor, and we're gonna take you apart, but we're not gonna put you back together because you're already here"? That feels like dying.
Yeah, that seems like a painless way to kill someone.
However, if we want to think about this in terms of the Star Trek universe, of which I know nothing about,
Because
Of
I've never
course
seen.
not.
because I've never seen it. Quote. They don't consider you dead unless they completely lose your signal.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's.
So that, but they've had this technology for hundreds of years, and they've had all of their philosophers have thought this through, and
All the Vulcan philosophy.
yeah,
Yes.
and their culture, you're not dead until
No.
they've lost your signal.
But even with us, we have a difference between legally dead and what's actually
That
dead.
makes sense.
All right.
And
See, I would define
So-
death as brain death.
Okay, Ethan.
but you would be brain dead while you're in the transporter
You seem like
buffer.
the only one that's resistant. If I put you in a transporter and a copy of you is over there, you and the copy both exist, and I say, Ethan, get in the deconstructor. Would
No,
you do
you
it?
wouldn't say get in the deconstructor. You would
You'd
say, Ethan, get in the
transporter.
transporter.
You'll show up.
No, I'm not lying to you. I'm saying,
Oh.
Ethan, you're already over here.
No, I'm
saying,
not.
We need to take you apart because there's two of you.
Wait, what do you mean, two of me?
Well, you get in the transporter, and where we were going to transport you to, there is a you, but the you that's on the ship didn't go anywhere. It's still there. There's two yous.
No,
But I feel like at that
you're
point
talking
you would
about
have two
in the
separate
middle of
people.
transport.
No.
No.
It goes wrong.
So
Transport's
say
over.
you step on the transporter pad, and from your perspective, you end up on the planet. But from the person who's transporting you's perspective, you're still on the pad.
I think we should
And
swap
nothing,
that.
or swap
From
that
your
around.
perspective, you're still on the ship, but we say, no, you're over there, you're on the planet.
Okay, here's what I think.
Okay.
Here's what I think.
Wrong.
I am partial to the idea. Well, first of all, the whole reason this could work is because somehow we're deconstructing your body, but we're keeping the information, like the exact specifications of your body, how all of your molecules are arranged. Somehow we're deconstructing that and transporting the information to a different destination.
Yes.
To me, as long as it's my information, as long as it's not corrupted in any sort of way, I consider it a different state of being,
Okay.
state of life.
So you could say
But I still think that it is life.
we scan you down to the atom, and we make a copy of you.
A perfect copy.
Yeah, and you and the copy are both existing.
Wait, okay, so
I
this is the
think-
Riker episode where we're both existing.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
both
at that
existing.
point, once you materialize, I think you are two separate people because you have
Yes.
two separate sets
Okay.
of memories.
Yes.
And
But then I'm like,
at least I think that's
However,
part of what
however,
makes...
I don't think because information is conserved, just like energy. So I don't think it's possible to make a copy because if you're making a copy, it means you're creating information.
I want to say, Ethan,
This is quantum
the
mechanics.
power bill is going to be through the roof if we don't deconstruct you. You need to get in because there's two of you now. We need the energy
Oh,
from
okay.
your molecules. Get
I
in.
see what you're saying. You're saying so because according to Einstein,
Yeah.
according
Little
to
known
Einstein,
fella.
some dude with some crazy hair. According to him, you could just take matter and turn it into energy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we do for nuclear
Fission.
Yes.
Fission fusion.
Yeah. So you're saying that if we need some energy,
Mhm.
take my copy or take one of the copies.
Although, if you could
Oh,
do
that's a
that, couldn't you
different
put
question. No,
any
no.
piece of matter
I don't
of
understand what you're
equivalent
saying.
Okay,
size to
okay,
you?
okay. I'm gonna have to relay out the question.
I
So transporter works like this.
Oh,
Maybe this
no.
isn't how the Star Trek transporter works. But my transporter is my transporter now.
I think you
Don't
went
pretend
off
like
on
you
a
don't
lot
know
of
how this
tangents
started.
here,
Well, no,
Okay.
this
and
might
you need
not
to
be.
re-ask the question because we went off on so many tangents we lost sight
Yeah,
of what the
we
original
lost sight.
question is.
So should I
that's
What
the
is
fun.
the original question?
No, I think we
Okay.
should leave it. I think
So,
we should leave
Leave
this
it open.
We should leave this open for the listeners.
Can I still re-ask the question?
You can re-ask the question.
All right. So
Restate
Ethan,
it,
I'm gonna
please.
scan you down to the atom,
Gotcha.
and I make a perfect. And then I put you in a box, and I say we're gonna take you apart, and we're gonna rebuild you over here,
Okay.
and we're gonna take you apart, and by take you apart, I mean we're gonna turn you into energy.
Okay.
And then we got a different battery over here.
Okay.
We're not gonna move the energy from one battery to the other. We already have the energy over there, but we need you to
Sending
power
the
this.
information.
We're sending the information, but
Okay.
not the energy.
Gotcha.
And so we turn it on. The lights go off, and the battery on the other side of the room makes a U from the energy we sent to it.
Okay.
But you didn't get mulched into energy to charge the first battery. And we say, well, we need that energy to make other people. We can't just lose all that. So we need you to get in and just get mulched into the energy. And you're not going to reappear because you're already over there. Do you get in? Or do you think, oh, that sounds like I'm going to die?
That does
That
sound
is-
like you're gonna die.
That does sound
'cause-
like it. We'll leave it up to the
We'll leave it
listeners.
open for the
You-
listeners.
Yes. You can write us, contact us from our webpage. Let's move on.
Link in the description.
Yes. Let's move on to the next segment. This next segment is in the news. This one's going to be, well, we've already been talking about science, but in the news will be
Real
some
life
news.
science.
Yes, real life science. Real life science, real life statistics. This will be science news. So, the news article that I found recently talks about Germany and their little issue that they're having with the insects in Germany. According to a recent study, in the past 3 decades, the insect populations in Germany's nature reserves have dropped by more than 75%.
So it's like the bee problem.
Yeah, like the,
Wow.
but it's all insects. And it's only in the night. Yeah. So wait, it's where in Germany? Okay. So they're not for sure why there's been a decline, but they know that the pattern is consistent in Western and Northern Germany.
Okay.
So in all the nature reserves in Western and Northern Germany, they're seeing over the past 3 decades they've been seeing drops in insects.
Massive drops. How much?
Yeah.
What percent again?
Well, 75% in 3 decades.
75%.
Yeah.
Well, no more mosquito clouds.
Yeah.
I believe they refer to this as like the windshield issue or something like that because something like that.
Is that a theory as to where they're going?
No,
They're going
no. I don't remember why they chose to describe it like that, but I do know it has something to do with
Cars.
cars. Oh, yeah, obviously. No, like when when there's lots of bugs around, you have a big issue with
Yes.
having to wash your car all the time, but people aren't having to wash their cars as much
because there's
because there's less bugs in the air.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, so scientists suspect they do suspect something. They suspect that intensive agriculture in the surrounding regions has been the cause of this drop, but they're not for sure because they don't have enough data on the surrounding agricultural practices.
It's just like massive amounts of pesticides being sprayed
that's what
about.
they think. That's what they think, but they really don't know. They don't have data on that.
That'd be a pretty obvious conclusion. We're spraying a bunch of bug repellent. We get less bugs.
Right.
Gee, how about that?
It's
you know what Germany needs? Kastner. Yes.
Kasner is.
Our East Campus Center, we do a lot of research into entomology and things like
The
that.
study of bugs.
Yes. And we have a tractor testing track.
Oh, that's right.
The only one in the United States.
Yes.
Germany needs a tractor testing
Germany
track.
needs one.
Now, growing up in rural Nebraska, I heard a lot about tractor pulls. Is this different from a tractor pull, the tractor testing field?
It can be.
It can be, but sometimes
I
you
feel
do
like it mostly
throw in a
is.
classic tractor pull.
Yeah. Well, this is actually a really serious problem though for Germany.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure the ecosystem is
Yeah, it's all
getting
out of whack.
Mhm.
It's all
destroyed.
wacky. Yeah, because you think how many animals
Are dependent
are
on
dependent on
bugs.
insects and plants
And
too.
then any
Mhm.
animal that's dependent on the animals that are dependent on insects.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a real,
So most animals.
yeah.
Nice. The article that I was reading from Science Magazine about this did say that the researchers mentioned that they need to better monitor the plants and animals in the local ecosystems. But I'm thinking, if you're monitoring the insects, then why are you not monitoring like the birds? You know?
That's
Yeah.
a good question.
Yeah.
How do you monitor an insect? Because like when we're tracking a rhinoceros, you put a little tag on it.
Hmm.
You can't
Think-
like track down a mosquito and put a little
Well-
radio sensor on it.
Do we have things small enough that you could?
A little nanobot.
Yeah.
We probably
receiver.
do.
Uh-huh.
We probably do. We could
That
check.
could be
we
what's
could,
on
yeah.
the fourth floor.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mosquito tracking.
trackers.
Mosquito trackers.
Yeah.
No, they use like catching systems. So they have various outposts in the different regions, and they like catch bugs, and they count how many bugs.
So
they
it's
have.
like a statistical.
It's a statistic.
Yes.
Yeah, statistical thing.
Statistical. Statistical. You count up your bugs, and if you get more bugs yesterday than today, you're losing bugs.
Except not that short of a time frame.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a
a
3-decade
really
long
short
study.
Time frame.
It's an analogy.
Right. And Germany's ecosystems are not isolated. This could easily be an effect
Yeah.
All
on
over
all of the
Europe.
Western
continents.
Europe.
Hmm.
I'm worried now. That's the real end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about climate change.
How are their bees doing?
What
Is
if
it
it's
does it
part of
compound?
climate
Do they,
change?
are they losing even more bees than
How
the
are
rest of the
bees
world?
doing?
Because this is, for those of you that don't know, this is a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
Bees are going extinct.
Well, not yet,
Well,
but
the
their
bee numbers are
greatly
declining.
diminishing.
Yes.
Yes.
And nobody knows why. Where are the
Yes.
bees going?
Everything relies on bees.
Yeah.
Is that a fact?
I think so.
Well, a lot of
I
things
said-
do rely on
It's
bees.
a fact I just made up.
Yes.
No, but bees, and they impact their ecosystems in the same
Yeah.
way. The bees spread pollen, so plants rely on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
As good as everything relies on bees. It's too complicated to figure out exactly, so we will approximate to everything.
We will
Everything.
approximate to one significant figure.
It is either 1 or 0.
Science jokes, gotta love them.
I love sig figs.
Uh-huh.
The one thing though about this article was they weren't able to successfully find a correlation between changes in the climate. Because climate change is a global phenomenon. They weren't successfully match the changes in climate with the changes in the bug populations, which is why they don't know. Because that was their first inclination was that changes in climate is affecting this.
And they don't have
Yeah.
enough data on pesticide usage.
And they don't have enough, so that's their second guess, but they don't have enough data, so they're gonna have to do more studies. But
That's a problem.
yeah,
Rip bugs.
yeah. Who would have known that it's a good thing to get your car dirty, or for your car to be really, really, really dirty with lots of bug impacts?
That's like a dipstick for the state of the universe. How many
Yeah.
bugs do I get on my car? If it's a lot, the world's doing good.
the world's doing
The
good,
world's good.
Okay.
especially if there's a couple bees on there.
Aw.
Maybe not. Maybe
Don't
we're
hit the
we're trying to
bees.
keep the bee
Keep
numbers
the bee
up.
numbers up.
So,
Oh, geez.
if you smash a bee on your windshield, just pull over, give it surgery, send it on its way. That's how that works. That's how that
That
works
is
now.
how
The bee
that
surgeon.
works. You can tell we're physics majors.
Yeah, we know a lot about. We pretend
Yes.
to know a lot about the other sciences as well.
I don't know if you watched Big Bang Theory, but I like Sheldon Cooper's comment about a physicist.
And this being,
He was mentioning to Penny, Penny trying to, I don't know, Penny doing Penny
we're just
things.
assuming everyone's seen Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Well,
I think that's a safe assumption. Honestly,
probably-
everyone has.
Honestly, A lot of the time when I tell people I'm a physics major, that's the first question I get.
Yeah.
Like when I was out at Balin Observatory,
Another great place you should
yes,
visit.
yes, that you should definitely visit. They're having
When's
a
the next
star
Balin night?
party.
We can put information about that on the website.
The next Balin night will be over before this is released, though. So
No,
No.
I believe the next Balin night is the 11th of November.
Okay,
well, there you go.
there you go.
If you caught
Oh no, Sheldon Cooper. So Sheldon Cooper's. I love how we come. Sheldon Cooper said in passing that being a physicist, he has a working knowledge of the universe and everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, he can know everything.
I can at least pretend to know
At least pretend.
everything.
Penny's remark being asking him what Radiohead is, and he didn't know. It's a great episode. You should watch it if you haven't.
You go.
Not sponsored.
Therefore, physicists know everything. Let's
I'm
move
on board
on.
with it.
Should we move on? Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Sure.
The next segment, we've got a fun segment for the next one. We've got a game to play.
A game time,
Mm-hmm.
devised by yours truly, Carter Walford, and my contestants will be my co-hosts today.
Oh, good.
Me?
So yes, you from the studio audience. Only the people in this room,
-1.
minus one.
Yes.
Our silent sound engineer.
Our sound engineer is up here.
I like to call this game, Which One's the Fake? And I'm going to introduce to you
This is like 2 truths, 1 lie.
two truths, one lie.
Okay.
But I can't patent that
What a
because it already
creation.
exists.
But one
So I
truth and
renamed
one
it.
lie?
No, this is This is still true. 2 truths and 1 lie. But I'm calling it something else.
Okay.
I'm going to propose to you 3 different. Well, in this rendition of Which One's the Fake, we're going to use comic book characters. 2 of these are going to be dumb but real comic book characters, and the third will be one that I have personally made up and is also dumb.
Okay.
Okay, I get
Each
it.
of you are going to get a guess at which one is the one that I made up.
Okay.
They're slightly themed rounds. There'll be 3 rounds, each
Okay.
with 3 characters. So let's get started. Our first contestant is Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man, who has the power to turn any of his body parts into any animal, vegetable, or mineral of his choosing.
Right. Do
this
we have
fir-
to play 20 questions to figure out what he turned it into? And
You
what kind
can
of
turn
animal?
it into anything.
Right.
You know, it's use your imagination.
Got it.
Is this a real thing that exists in comic
So
books
like
somewhere?
Beast Boy, but much lamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or better, you know, you can mix and match. But anyways, this first round is sort of nature themed. Our next contestant is Spider Guy, not to be confused with Spider Man, and
Okay.
his power is not, you know, the powers of a spider, but he's kind of like Aquaman, but for arachnids. He can sort of control and convince arachnids
Wait,
to
wouldn't
do
that be
things.
like Ant-Man except for spiders?
Well, scorpions
Ant-Man
are arachnids,
shrinks.
aren't they? So it could be scorpions as well. Don't discount the scorpion.
Okay,
Okay.
like Ant-Man except
Like-
for
Shouldn't that be
arachnids?
a
But Ant-Man
arachnid
can
guy?
also shrink and stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have that power.
This spider guy doesn't. He's not quite that cool. He just
Spider
tells
guy,
spiders what to do.
spider guy.
Honestly, a terrifying power.
Oh yeah.
Like if someone says I can control spiders, I wouldn't mess with him.
Depends where I am in the world, if I'm being honest.
If you're in like
Like-
Australia,
It doesn't matter.
In Nebraska,
I could be
Like the worst thing's
500
what?
miles
Wolf
orbiting the
spiders?
Earth. I would not. No.
there might be a spider.
Keep the
here.
spiders away from me.
Our third contestant is Chlorophyll Kid, who has the amazing power to make any plant grow. He can't control the growth or make new plants. He
Wait.
just accelerates the growth of a plant that's already there. And
Okay, you
it's-
can't control plant.
No,
You can just control the growth of the plant.
Yeah, it's
and
just like
accelerate
he
it
just
in one direction.
Sort of turns up the time of how fast this. So if a tree
Okay.
was gonna grow up, he can't like make trees grab people and fight for him.
Wait
Aw.
a
just makes it grow.
Wait a second. 2 of these are real?
2 of these are completely
Sorry.
real.
They're not real, but
No,
didn't-
these are not real people. in
real
the world.
comic book characters.
2 of them you didn't come
Are
up with.
real comic book characters
Okay.
that I
God.
did not personally come
And
up
we have to
with.
figure out which one
So-
did he come up
Oh,
with.
no.
Ethan, Spider Guy, Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man, or Chlorophyll Kid. Which one's the fake?
Holy cow. I would say Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man.
Claire?
I
Which one's the
want him
fake?
to be right. I just am not entirely sure that he is. I'm gonna go with the last one.
Chlorophyll Kid?
Yes.
Man, put me on the writing team, Marvel. You are both wrong.
No
It
way.
is Spider Guy is the fake. Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man is real. Chlorophyll Kid also real.
Animal, vegetable. The reason I went with that was because that was
So
a
horrible.
dumb name.
It is
Yes.
a dumb name.
I didn't think that
That's
could
why I
ever
said
pass.
I want
so-
you to be right. I just don't think you are.
Oh
You
my
would,
gosh.
and if there are any executives from Marvel and DC out there, I could be a writer. Mine
Yeah.
sounded more
Carter
real.
Walford.
Put me on
call
the
him
team. Anyways, round 2. You both. I award you no points.
Great.
Round 2 is.
So we could tie.
There will be a tiebreaker round. I haven't made it up yet, but
Okay.
Got it.
if it comes to that, I'll think of something.
Okay.
Round 2 is themed, and that's it. You'll find out in a bit. Our first comic book character, or maybe not a comic book character, is the Big Wheel. And that's it. That's his power. He rolls around in a big wheel. That's all he does. Our second contestant is Sportsmaster. He hits people with sports equipment, and that's it. He's
Like a baseball
He
bat.
just baseball bat, hockey stick, lacrosse bat, net thing, whatever they
Okay.
use in lacrosse.
Stick.
He uses them as weapons, and he hits you.
I feel like golf clubs could be very effective.
But that's not really a superhero. That's just kind of a guy with a golf club. But
That's just a jerk with
That's
a
not.
golf club.
That's not for me to make. I'm not passing judgment on any of these characters. Our
Oh,
final contestant-
Okay, so we've got
You've
the
got
big wheel,
the big wheel,
and
and Sportsmaster.
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 I feel like he doesn't actually play any of these
Our,
sports.
our third contestant is Big Brain. He's smart and he's got a big head, and that's it.
Okay.
And that's it. Wait, big head is in
Big head, like his
Bigger
head,
than normal.
like bigger than like
Bigger
you see
than average.
Megamind.
yeah,
He's
Yeah.
got
That
like
big.
a big head.
and that makes him a superhero.
And well, and he's smart, but
All right, so we've
it's
got
anyone can be smart, but not everyone can have a big head.
Okay.
we've got
So, Sportsmaster, the Big Wheel, Big Brain. I'm gonna let Claire answer first. Which one's the fake?
The wheel guy.
Big Wheel?
Yes.
That's your guess? Locking it in?
Yes.
Ethan, which one's the fake?
I'm gonna go with not the big brain, but the one before that, Sportsmaster.
I know that one's a real one.
Once again, you are both wrong.
You knew that one was real.
Yeah.
Sportsmaster's
He's in Young
actually-
Justice.
Yeah, he's a pretty popular
Yeah.
character, the Sportsmaster. But no, it was Big Brain was the fake one that I made up.
Big brain.
The
I
Big
feel
Wheel
like that would characterize.
and
How-
Sportsmaster.
How do you know that this has not actually been created
Well,
somewhere?
I made it up. Is my only
Okay,
criteria.
how do you know? Okay.
didn't
Okay,
look it
I
up.
feel. I
I'm gonna
feel
get
like
one.
the
I'm gonna
big
get one.
brain
Here we go.
guy is part of the DC
Well,
extended
you can
universe.
Google it someday.
Okay.
Not today. You
Not
both
today.
were wrong.
Let's
Okay.
move on.
I guess the object of the game is to guess which one I made up this morning when I was sitting in my room, and
Okay.
we both failed at that. So
Okay.
moving on.
So it's
I-
not to guess which one's fake, it's to guess
Yeah.
which one your brain goes to.
Exactly. So once again, I award you no points.
Okay.
Round 3.
Ouch.
Bad sidekicks.
Oh,
We
no.
have first up on our roster of bad sidekicks. Was that? I gotta read it. Okay. First up on our roster of bad sidekicks is Bouncing Boy, whose power is that he can inflate himself into a sphere and bounce around. He bounces around.
Wow.
That's his
Okay.
powers. Seems
Incredible.
useful. He's like an airbag, I guess. Wait, that might come in handy.
Is that a beach ball? No, it's the incredible bouncing boy.
Second up on our list of bad sidekicks is the Color Kid. A lot of alliteration in comic books, old comic books, where these crappy
Yeah.
characters are from. A lot of alliteration. The Color Kid can change the color of any object.
Okay.
He could also fit into "and that's it"
Okay.
category. He just
Yeah.
if you got he could change Bouncing Boy into a green Bouncing Boy.
I
He
feel
changes
like
their color.
Bouncing Boy could also go into and that's it
And that's it.
category.
Really, all of them can be, and that's it. And last but not least, we have Geology Gal, which can accelerate and reverse geological transformation of rocks.
Okay.
For example, if you give her a chunk of limestone, she can turn it into marble, as limestone becomes marble over time.
Okay.
Okay.
What are our contestants?
So, our contestants, Bouncing Boy, Color Kid, and Geology Gal. Which one's the fake? Ethan.
Bouncing Boy.
Color Kid.
No way. No way.
In a row!
No
You
way.
are both wrong.
Jeez.
How did this happen?
You rigged it.
Geology Gal is the one I made up this
Carter
morning.
Walford. You rigged things.
Put me on the writing
You're not
sheet.
allowed to do this anymore.
This is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
This is...
My gosh.
The...
Oh.
I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
You have a backup, don't you?
Yeah,
Or
the-
a
The
tiebreaker?
tiebreaker, which I've just made up,
Break the zero tie.
as is as is what happens. What must happen in most soccer games, we must break a 0-0 tie. And just like in soccer, the rules of the tiebreaker sounds a bit made up, but this time it actually is made up. The
Well,
color,
aren't you good at making things up?
yep, the Color Kid and
Apparently.
Bouncing Boy are both from the same team of superheroes.
Wait, so Geology Gal?
Geology Gal isn't real. I made her up.
Right, got
I
it.
felt so connected to Geology Gal. I could read that comic.
Superpowers I want.
Color Kid and Bouncing Boy both come from the same team of superheroes, and I'm gonna have each of you guess at what that team name is. And if one of you gets it, you win. But we're also gonna go by whichever team name I like the most.
Okay.
Color Kid and Bouncing Boy. They...
Blue Balloon Buddies.
Blue Balloon Buddies is Claire's
Yes.
final answer. Ethan, do we have a team name?
I see them being on the... I don't even know. Oh, the Squad.
The Squad. Well, you're both incorrect. The actual answer, I
had no
forget
direction
most of it.
on
It's
that.
like Reject Justice League or something like that. Is
Yeah.
actually
That sounds about
um,
right.
that's the
makes
something like
sense.
that.
That
is
makes
Is the
sense.
actual team they're on.
They're the Reject Squad.
And
They could be the Squad.
I
They could be a squad.
the Squad was too unoriginal for me. I'm gonna award Claire the win on this one for all the marbles.
For
Let's
the
give it.
single.
I don't know if we applause. We probably can't applause with this
We
recording
can
equipment in the way.
we can put in applause.
We can snap. It's like poetry.
Snap.
Good job, Claire. You get all of
Okay.
the marbles. They're worth more than gold stars, but less than merits. We'll add them up at the end of the season and see who. And that's game time.
And with that, we are done with today's episode. Guys, this has been so much fun.
That's game time, and that's our time.
And that's our time.
That's our
Yes.
time.
So, you've been listening to What's on the Fourth Floor.
But what is on the
But
fourth
what is
floor?
on the fourth floor?
I'm still partial to bowling alley because the
Me
bottom
too.
is like
Bowling
wood
alley.
slatted.
All
A
you have to
whole
do
bowling
is
alley out there.
soundproof the whole ceiling and both of the walls and the floor. That's
So
all you
who
have
gets
to do.
access to this? Who gets access to the bowling alley?
Well, Aiden Walla.
Yes,
Our
Aiden
Professor
Walla.
Aiden Walla. Of course she does.
Anyone who could build a thermonuclear device on their own in under 3 months.
Oh, it's like incentive to not do that.
Yes.
You have to
Gotcha.
bowl.
Yes.
Take up your repressed frustrations and bowl
I'm bowling.
not
Yes.
building nuclear. Hello? If you're still here, it's because you're looking for more. If that's the case, check us out on Facebook at What's on the Fourth Floor and Twitter at OnFloor4. Again, that's Facebook, What's on the Fourth Floor, Twitter at OnFloor4. That's at OnFloor, the number 4.